Ball just finished our 13th practice. I'm sure you caught that from Phil, but also kind of where we are in regards to special teams. During the spring football, it's a great teaching time, a great opportunity for young guys to learn and improve and try to get a little foothold for themselves moving into fall camp. And this spring has been nothing short of that, so it's been good from that standpoint. We install a punt, field goal block. Those are the phases that get installed, and the rest of the other phases we kind of install piece by piece, drill by drill. Nothing schematic goes in those during that time. So that's kind of where we're at, and it's been really fun to see some young guys taking a step forward, trying to teach them the skills, the techniques that they need to be able to compete and help our football team here come fall and in the season. And you see a lot of progress, a lot of good work from guys. It's also a really good time to help galvanize the team, build the team, kind of push the team and the units forward. So it's kind of where we're at right now. And in regards to the specialists, I'm sure that'll be asked, so I'll try to get off to it right away. But starting off with Drew Stevens, most experienced guy, senior right now, definitely has grown and matured. You guys have heard me say that about him before, and he keeps doing it, and it's really fun to watch, and he's really in a good place. Right now he's kicking the ball really well, he's working on his leadership, which isn't necessarily natural to him, because he is a pretty quiet guy, pretty focused guy. But it's really been fun watching him grow in that role, and he's doing a really good job with it, kicking the ball incredibly well right now, as good as I think I've seen here. So that's fun to watch. Behind him right now, a young guy, Caden Bohr from Bettendorf, for those of you guys from the Quad Cities. He's doing a really good job, man. He kid really should be in science class right now in high school, but he chooses to be here, so he's getting a little bit of a jump. He's doing really well. Bright future, been a good addition to the room. It's fun watching he and Drew kind of, reminds me of Drew as a freshman when Drew was, kind of very talented, but kind of just like crazy, head all over the place, right? Now you see Drew the other way, where he's more mature, level-headed, and then you have Caden. So it's fun, I think, for Drew. You guys can ask him this if he sees it this way, but to see like, man, that was him when he was a freshman. But from a talent standpoint, ability standpoint, it's all out there for Katie. It's been really good, a good addition. Talking about the punter, Rhys having a good spring. Sort of got thrust into everything last year. I think you guys, I know I've been on record saying this before, you saw him kind of improve each and every game last year, each and every opportunity as he learned the game and understood the game. He's sort of at a point right now where he's at that point, but now we're trying to adjust and trying to tweak, and how much better can we be, how much more consistent can we be punting the football. He's improved dramatically as a holder. He's done a really good job in that role, and I'm excited for him, and the sky's the limit, I think, for him as well. I mean, we saw some of that last year as well. Okay, and then with him working at punter is also Ty Nissen. Ty's a senior, been steady for us, been kind of quiet. He served as a holder last year, did a really good job with that role, continues to do well with that. He's also improved his punting, and a lot of that I think has to do with the strength and conditioning program. He's faster, he's stronger, his leg is stronger. If you guys think of it, you need to play golf, his swing speed is much faster, and I think it surprises him at times with some of the balls he hits and connects with. So that's also been interesting to watch here this spring. Then as far as long snapper goes, Ike Speltz is the one snapper we have here on our roster. He's going into his redshirt freshman right now, going into his third year. Done a really good job. In the spring, he's doing the work of two snappers right now. He's servicing everybody, so he's snapping a ton. We're sort of trying to fast track him developmentally wise that way, and he's done a good job with that role. And all Ike lacks right now is game experience. It's what he just doesn't have. The only way to get that is to get him in the game. So that's what he's working towards right now. We'll add another piece here going into fall camp. I'm unable to speak about that at this moment, but that's kind of where everything is from a special team standpoint, specialist standpoint. So all that winded stuff. Anybody have any questions?
LeVar with Rhys Dakin. We were talking to him a week or two ago, and he talked about adding a bunch of weight. How do you see that kind of helping him this year, and have you been able to see the difference yet?
Yeah, I think it's physics, right? If you think about it, heavier, right, more mass and strength into the ball. I know it worked with Drew Stevens when he was young as well. I think definitely seen improvement from Rhys. He's also trying to be a little bit more consistent with that. I think anytime you add mass, it needs to be good weight, and I know Ray and his staff are doing a good job with that.
Hey, LeVar, LA Club, Hawkeye Bacon. You didn't mention kickoff at all, right? Is that not something that you guys are doing right now?
Yeah, so we don't actually work on, the kickers don't actually work on kickoff in spring. A lot of that is to do with trying to save the legs for training camp and then the fall camp. Schematically, we don't install the kickoff coverage scheme right now in spring, but we do work on the fundamentals of how to cover kicks and competitive drills in that regard. So that went in on last Saturday. We continued that yesterday. We'll do it again tomorrow.
Okay. Looking at, I guess, return, I know Max White entered the portal, but you got Caden. Are you guys kind of like looking at what you got and taking notes going into the fall regarding who could be that other kick returner alongside Caden?
Yeah, for sure. So I probably misspoke there. We do work on returns, punt returns and kick returns. The returners pre-practice every day. We have different drills, competitive drills we put them in. We just don't install the schematics of it during spring football. But it's kind of funny. I was talking with our special teams analyst Brock Sherman, who does a phenomenal job, by the way. He and I were talking earlier. It's like, you know, knock on wood, but like, have you ever gone into, you've been in spring practice where you felt better about the returners? Like, I think we got a good pool of returners. Obviously, everyone knows Caden Weegan and what he did last year, and super pumped for him and excited for him. There's some good young guys coming up as well. You talk about KJ Parker, Terrell Washington. You're looking at Sam Phillips, who's done it in games in college. You're talking about Zach Lutmer. You know, go down the list of the running backs, McNeil with Kamari Moulton, you know, talking about kick return. So there's definitely a good group, and so we're fun. It's been fun working with those guys. We really haven't, you know, installed the scheme of kick return yet.
Blake Hornstein, Hawkeye headquarters. LeVar, good to see you.
Good to see you, Blake.
Going back to Drew Stevens, you know, going into last off season, had maybe a bitter taste in his mouth, a chip on his shoulder, and now he's coming off of success and having a huge moment in the regular season finale. How have you seen him take that tiger inside of him and channel it in a positive direction? Because he said handling success can be more difficult than handling failure. And then for you as his coach, what was it like to see him have that moment against Nebraska, to have that redemption and to make the kick that he did?
Yeah, those are great questions you brought up, and I think you nailed it with Drew. Like, there is a tiger inside there. Saw that when he was a freshman. He was a little bit ornery. There's something about him, a little bit quirky. There's something about him that was inside of him, and he had great success as a freshman. Right, he made 90% of his kicks, and if you look and you pay attention, you look who makes 90% of their kicks. Those guys play on Sundays in Pro Bowls, right? So it's hard to do what he did as a freshman, and I think kind of coming in second year. You know, I think some of the maturity stuff that he maybe wasn't quite ready for that success and how to handle that, and I didn't do a great job as his coach. He and I have had those conversations, but I think what you saw, he got humbled real fast in his second year, and I think what you saw coming out of year 2 into year 3 was a more consistent guy, more dedicated guy, more focused guy. The talent's always been there, and then how do you harness it? How do you get him to see the things that you see the way that you see them? That's every coach's job, right? I'm sure Phil will tell you the same thing about as a DB. Tim will tell you the same thing as a quarterback. You're trying to get the guy to see it the way you see it, see the game the way you see it. And I think Drew's done that. And all we've seen is this, you know. And I haven't seen a ton of. I think if you look at young Drew Stevens, there's a lot on social media, a lot of stuff going on out there. Rather than right now, he's real focused and real deliberate with what he's doing. He's meticulous with his work. Man, he's a grown-up, and it's fun to watch.
Hey, LeVar, Tom Caker, Hawkeye Report.
Tom? Great to
Doing
see you.
well. Great to see you too. You had a really, solid long snapper with Luke.
Mm-hmm.
How have you seen Ike kind of develop, and do you see that same level of consistency so far from him?
Yeah, I think if Luke heard you say the word solid, he might try to strangle you, because that's a word in our room that we don't like. Solid means average.
Okay.
So, but you don't know that.
Excellent.
There's a long story that goes back to that, especially at Iowa, the word solid. But anyway, I think Luke did a tremendous job while he was here, and unfortunately, we have to send him out the door at some point. But I think that Ike has gotten a chance to watch Luke and watch how he operated, how he performed, and his daily routine, what he did. And Ike is a very smart kid, and he followed and he watched and he paid attention. and he saw all that stuff. So I think Luke gave Ike as much as he possibly could from a preparation standpoint, mental standpoint. And now it's time for Ike to put that on the field and be himself, but still, do the things that he's learned. And we've seen that from Ike. He's had really good practices. He's had some ups and downs as well. But I think it's all in there with him. We just got to get the consistency ironed out. And again, I mentioned this before, right? The only way to get experience is to get experience. And so at some point that's going to have to happen. So.
Tyler Tashman with the Des Moines Register. Good to see you, LeVar.
Hi, Tyler. Great to see you. I love how you guys introduce yourself. So formal, too, by the way.
One thing Caden talked about last week was the potential for guys to kick away from him. Are there things that you guys can do to adjust to put him in position to be able to return or counter the fact that teams might try to avoid kicking to him?
For sure. I think it starts with who's the guy back there with you. If you have another threat back there with you, that helps, right? So you get guys like I mentioned with Terrell, with Moulton, with McNeil, some other guys out there back there with you. That forces the kicker to have to kick it to one of you guys. So that's one thought. Okay, the other thought that we've had this with Amir Smith-Marset as well. We had to sort of prep him and get him ready to field balls wider than he would normally be used to fielding. So that's another thing that we've been working on or talking about as well. So that stuff is definitely going to be out there, and I would anticipate people trying to keep it away from Caden, but I also, we play against good competition each week, so they're not going to kick away from him forever.
Scott Dakin with The Athletic.
Scott, great to see you.
Great to see you too, LeVar. You can make a case that